Here we go. Perfect. Hi. So I'm Johannes. I'm going to be showing you the Unreal kit that we have, as well as the WebXR kit. Gonna start with Unreal, of course. I mean, Unreal Engine, you all know it for sort of like high fidelity, high quality graphics, and that's what the engine is known for throughout a number of industries, not only gaming, but also sort of like virtual production. And there are a couple of different ways of rendering splats within Unreal. Usually, like generally, splats are pretty easy to integrate into Unreal, pretty seamless integration. A couple of different plugins allow you to do this. I'm going to show you which one we sort of picked. There are a number of them, and I'm going to speak at the end about some of the other choices because it really depends on your use case. But yeah. Unreal has a smaller ecosystem for VR. That means you have less tooling available versus, for example, Unity, which has the Unity MR SDK or some of the Meta plugins, as well as Pico. In Unreal, you just have a little bit less of that. That's why a lot of the sort of like VR, AR crowd will usually gravitate towards Unity, and then Unreal is more on the sort of like virtual production side of things. Exactly. Or video rendering. The plugin that I'm recommending is the Xverse 3D splat renderer. It's a great name, but it's from a company called Xverse. It's an open source project. Unfortunately, it is only maintained until version 5.5. So if you want to use 5.8 with the new MCP, unfortunately, you can't use that plugin. You will have to use a paid alternative instead, which already brings me to the reasoning why we recommend this plugin. It's because it's free and open source. So maybe you don't want to spend about 100 euros on a plugin if you just go to a hackathon and want to experiment with this. But if you're the kind of person that works in Unreal anyway, then you might want to. Generally, this is true for Xverse as for the other ones. Usually they work with Niagara. So essentially the splats are instantiated as particles using the Niagara particle system from Unreal. And yeah, the Xverse one here supports PLY. It doesn't support SPZ, which is the sort of like compressed, more optimized version, but you can convert SPZ into PLY. So it basically supports any splat format that you would run into. And it also offers a couple of like runtime editing things where you can cull meshes and stuff like that, or where you can cull sort of like the bounding box. Then, yeah, I alluded a little bit to this already with when you want to do XR, which I know not everybody wants to do, but I'm still going to talk about it quickly. You can use the Meta XR SDK. This is available for 5.5. This is also what we recommend. And then for XR interactions and locomotions, like interaction systems, grabbing and stuff like that, there are a couple of sort of, I guess, third-party alternatives available. But if you're doing VR in Unreal, then you probably already have your own preference, and I'm not going to bore you with that, with my own opinion on it. Right. And then when it comes to the rendering guidelines, I would generally recommend, unless you have a very strong rig, to keep it below 2 million splats. This isn't quite as optimal as something like Spark.js, which runs on the web. This is a little bit more resource hungry. And if you're using VR, then I would also disable instance stereo because it doesn't really work with the rendering. So you get only one eye. Yeah. Right. Our kit that we have, sort of like from SenseAI, is the WorldLabs Unreal kit. It's pretty simple. It essentially just imports the binaries of the plugin, so you don't have to install it. It's a GitHub repo. I'm going to show that in a second for Unreal 5.5, and it's essentially ready to use. And yeah, you can import PLY files into that project and generate blueprints from the splats, which is also what I'm going to directly show you because I think it's better to just essentially get straight into the action. So this is the project that I opened. You can see the repo here. This is the SenseAI Unreal World model that is in the description. It gives a few installation guidelines and generally how it works, plus crediting experts for making this great plugin available for everyone. I'm just saying. So the way this works is essentially you add the plugin, and then all you need to do is find the folder, which is, I have a couple of PLY files here. I have one of a nice cafe, which you can just drag and drop in. It lets me. Try the other one. All right. So you can see it is pretty quick to import the files. I imported the other one previously and then deleted the files. I think that's why it didn't work. So I'm just trying another one. So it doesn't take a long time to import the files. It's very simple. You just drag and drop it in. Then you get two files. One is a blueprint, and you can just simply drag and drop the blueprint into your scene. And then you have essentially all the splats like this. And right. This works for essentially any splat. Just make sure that it's not too big. Again, I would limit it to about 2 million splats in total. And this is essentially our kit. I couldn't help but try out the Tripo AI sort of mesh generation as well. This is essentially, they have a plugin, which is a DCC bridge. You can just enable it here. And then you can import these models directly into Unreal. I generated this teacup, which I prepared for the cafe scene that I'm going to import. But anyway, so these are individual meshes, and I have already sort of like imported this previously because the import of these ones takes a little bit longer than the splats, which is funny that, like a mesh takes longer to import than a splat. But yeah, so you can essentially very, very easily now generate a whole environment and then populate it with objects, and you can then make the objects interactable as well. So I think this is really, really great for something like a hackathon, where you can just really quickly mock up something that looks very good as well. Right. So that's essentially the part that I have on Unreal. I mean, it's essentially importing splats using a plugin, and that's more or less it. It's a very seamless and very nice and smooth experience, as you would know from Unreal as an engine, because it is very great. So